Hello everyone. In this video we are going to learn about the blood supply of the spinal cord. The nervous tissue, it is too delicate to bear the anoxia beyond 3 minutes, right? So blood supply plays a very important role in the brain and spinal cord. Now, blood supply of the spinal cord. Spinal cord, it receives its blood supply from 3 longitudinal arterial channels that extend along the length of the cord. First, the anterior spinal artery. In this diagram you can see here they have shown the anterior spinal artery that is present anteriorly. It is present in relation to the anterior median sulcus. 2 posterior spinal arteries, one on each side, run along the posterolateral sulcus, right? Here you can see the posterior spinal arteries shown, right? On both the sides you will find that. In addition to these channels, the pia mater covering the spinal cord has an arterial plexus called as arteria vasa corona, which also sends branches into the substance of the cord. The main source of the blood to the spinal arteries is from the vertebral arteries, from which the anterior and the posterior spinal arteries take origin. Right? For this we will see one more diagram. You can find here in this diagram you will be able to find out. You can see here this is the anterior spinal artery. Okay. Now this two that you see, these are the vertebral arteries, and from both the vertebral arteries a branch is coming and joining together to form the anterior spinal artery. Posterior spinal arteries are also the branches of vertebral artery. The blood from the vertebral arteries reaches only up to the cervical segments of the cord. The spinal arteries also receive blood through the radicular arteries that reaches the cord along the roots of the spinal nerves. These radicular arteries, they arise from the spinal branches of the vertebral, ascending cervical, deep cervical, intercostal, lumbar and sacral arteries. Right? Once again I will repeat, the radicular arteries, they also supply the spinal cord, because only this spinal arteries, they are supplying up to the cervical segments of the cord, right? Remaining the radicular arteries are supplying, and they arise from the vertebral, ascending cervical, deep cervical, intercostal, lumbar and sacral. Now you know about all these arteries. Many of these radicular branches, they are small and end by supplying the nerve roots. A few of them which are larger, they contribute blood to the spinal arteries. Frequently, one of the anterior radicular branch is very large and is called as the arteria radicularis magna. Its position is variable, and this artery may be responsible for supplying the blood to as much as lower two-thirds of the spinal cord. Okay, lower two-thirds of the spinal cord is supplied by this radicular artery that is known as the arteria radicularis magna. The veins draining the spinal cord are arranged in the form of the 6 longitudinal channels, and these are anteromedian and posteromedian channels that lie in the midline. Right, here you can see the anteromedian vein is shown here, and here is the posteromedian vein that you can see. They are present in the midline, and also anterolateral and posterolateral channels are paired. Right. Now this here you can see the posterolateral vein is shown here, and here is the anterolateral vein. These channels are interconnected by a plexus of the veins that form the venous vasocorona. The blood from these veins is drained by radicular veins that open into the venous plexus lying between the dura and the vertebral canal, and through it into the various segmental veins. Okay, so that is about the arterial supply and the venous drainage of the spinal cord. Now the clinical anatomy. Anterior spinal artery supplies anterior 2/3, while the posterior spinal artery supplies posterior 1/3 of the spinal cord. Right, this is to be taken note of. Posterior column gets affected in the posterior spinal artery thrombosis. Anterolateral columns gets affected in anterior spinal artery thrombosis. Right, from this you can make out if there is only a damage to the posterior column, means there is a thrombosis of the posterior spinal artery. If anterior and the anterolateral columns gets affected, means there is a thrombosis in the anterior spinal artery, right? So you can find out the cause. Okay, so that is all about the clinical anatomy. Okay, bye.